Why would somebody do a creative deal? Like, why would they do that, Ash? And
Right.
needless to
Yeah.
say, now we have like a 5 bedroom, 3 bath house. That's $1 million house in a gated community with the most unbelievable terms. They don't teach us how the stock market works. The whole world is based on this, but they don't teach it.
Yep.
Why is that? You got to consider this. This is what people have a problem with school. They're not teaching you revenue generating activities.
Hello. Welcome to the Dream Start Own podcast, the path to own your time. I'm Edgar the Connector, and I have a special guest today.
I'm Ian Vernon. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Giving me a stage and, getting a chance to kind of, tell my story about, where I've come from and where I am today and, just some simple tips and tricks for people. And, I have up on the screen here what I call the freedom ladder. I don't know if you want me to take it away, Edgar.
Keep it on.
So the freedom ladder is what I have realized in my life using my experiences, the best way to explain everybody's hardest points of becoming an entrepreneur, okay, throughout life, and the moments in which really become your friend in becoming an entrepreneur, okay? And so it goes like this, right? So it obviously, you can see here, it starts down at the bottom at bills, then it goes to lifestyle, smart, and freedom. And so I always start out with why freedom is on top. Edgar, why do you think freedom's on top?
That's the goal.
It is the goal, but it's what I always like to say is because it's not free, right? People have lost
Yeah.
their lives for freedom, right? So it
Yeah.
is the last thing that you obtain, not the first thing, right? You were given freedom. No, we fight for freedom every single day of our life as an entrepreneur, right? People think that like, oh, you become an entrepreneur, so you're the boss, right? You know, talked about it. You got to do nothing. Nobody tells you to do. No, actually, being an entrepreneur is flipping the 9 to 5 on its head and working from 5 to 9. Okay, that's what that is. And actually, 5 to 5 is what I work. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays included. Okay, relentless, massive action. And that's how you get to freedom, right? So the point is that in addition, so now that we know, like, why freedom's on top, the question is when's the very best time to start your own business?
Yesterday.
Okay, yeah, obviously, right? And so you're absolutely right, right? Like not today, the sooner the better, right? And so
Right.
that goes towards the first layer. So that brings us back down to the first layer or the first stage, which is bills, right? When you have no bills. So when do you have no bills? When I'm working at home, when I'm living at home with my mom and dad's roof, right? And this goes towards everybody always hears about how our education system is terrible and it's worthless and school sucks and don't go to school. I don't personally believe that. Okay. I don't personally believe that. However, what I do believe is that school steals everyone's best years in life. Okay. We become so, and again, I'm speaking out of my own experience. I can only speak from my own experience, but it goes towards what you said, which is, when do you get started? Yesterday. And that's really what it becomes. Like I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful for where I am today. But my youngest brother started at 17. Don't I wish I was him? Right. And so, like, and he could probably even say the same thing. I wish I would have gotten started earlier. And so the question is why don't we? Okay. And it is the conditioning of school.
Yep.
And for me, in my experience, it was the same chase for entrepreneurship, but we're chasing A's, right? These very pointy, wonderful looking objects that we're told that as long as we can collect all the A grades that we can get, we're going to get out of school and we're going to make hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. And of course, that never becomes true, which is why everybody has so much pain, feels so much pain and wants to change the education system, And so what I generally will say about school is it's like, it gives us all the tools, but they don't show us how to use the tools, right? It's like, yes, Sudoku and word puzzles are good for you, right? Because it keeps your brain active. And so, but it's not applicable.
Right.
So you can be very smart, and that's great. But if you don't know how to make no money, then you're not an entrepreneur. And so the missing piece to school is revenue generating activities. And that's what we teach. We teach revenue generating activities. Nobody cares how smart you are. Actually, I have multi-millionaire customers. They're, their grade levels probably of a elementary school, right? They know it. They don't care. They flip pizzas all day. They answer the phones and they make millions of dollars doing that, right?
Taking
So
action.
when you have, right, then they're just here. They're doing it. They're relentless, short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. They're sacrificing themselves generally for their families. They're sending money back to Mexico, back to Guatemala. They're bringing their families over to America. Their families are working with them in their Mexican restaurant. Their kids are coming after school to the restaurant. Everybody's sacrificing. Right. And that's what entrepreneurship takes. That's why freedom's at the top. If there was one thing that I wish I could get the word out and reach those young kids who just have high confidence and are just maybe even bored of school, or maybe even not bored of school. But like, I think back to myself that like when I was in school, whether it was sports, whether it was in the classroom, I excelled at everything. I told you I was the best helper. I was like, you just tell me what to do, coach. I'll get out there and I'll do it. No questions asked. I just wish somebody would have come into the classroom and been like, raise your hand if you want to make $1 million. At 14 years old, my hand would have been in the air. You wouldn't have had to pull me out. I would have been like, please show me the way. And that's what's missing out of school. And it's always like, as we're hiring people and as you talk to people, obviously entrepreneurship, the biggest problem is when we hire people it's like the first question they ask, is this a commission-based job? And it's like, yeah, every business is commission-based, right? Every business. I have customers that have spent $4 million just to open the front door. They don't even know if a single customer is going to walk through the door. They've remodeled the entire place, millions of dollars into a place. And they don't even know when they open the door, somebody's going to walk through and say, yeah, I'll order that. It is important to worry about your bills. I'm not going to minimize this. But what happens is that as you get further on in life, you accumulate bills, right?
Yep.
And you accumulate bills moving into the next step because, of course, I want to woo a girl. No girl wants to go out with some broke kid, broke man. Okay. So like at some point, you got to show off at least a little bit. Otherwise, life ain't all that great.
Like the peacocks with their feathers,
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. What happens is people will buy cars for the fanciness. People will buy and spend money that they don't have. I won't go into our relationship, but I proposed to Ashley without a ring. Okay. Because we were growing a business. It's a complete waste of money. Let's get serious. It's not an investment. My investment's in her, right? Better investment was my children. They cost a whole lot more than a ring. I promise you that. Okay. But at least I got my money out of these guys. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the main idea is that, at some level, we always talk to people about when we're talking, because obviously our business is in residual income. And what we always say is we absolutely sacrifice bills and lifestyle for smart money. Okay. That's where we do. We focus strictly on the residual income. Yes, we can make money up front. We highly advise it. We show and teach people how to do it. But when it all boils down to it, we'll give up every dollar on the forefront for money on the back end. That's what we promote. So in that, we always look, when we're hiring people, we always look for people that, what's their bottom dollar that they need to make? And generally speaking, that's 100% of their bills, right? It's 100% of their bills. Now it's like, well, every person has a different starting point. And this is why I was saying that I feel like blessed and thankful, right? And I feel like God put me in this position, okay, when I first got started, of being broke. I was totally broke. I had nothing to lose. I was out of college, could have gotten myself stuck in a car loan. I also want to preface this. Luckily, I did have a wonderful family. My mother and father were always supportive. And I know that that's not the same for everybody, right? So it's all conditional to the situation you're in. And the further you get along, the harder it is. Because again, all the innate feelings that you have as a human being of wanting to be on your own and having children and having a house and having a car and having a wife or a girlfriend or owning things and being on your own. And my wife and I, my girlfriend at the time, moved back in with my folks. She moved from Florida to New Jersey into my parents' house. Okay. Broke as a joke. I had two other brothers living there with both of their girlfriends. We had two guys from the business sleeping on the couches, my mother and my dad, and we had even other people from the business would sleep over from time to time. It was a jungle.
Wow.
Okay. A jungle. But that's what it takes. You have the vision and you know what's possible and you can feel and see it and touch it. Then it's just a matter of time. It's what we call the law of averages. I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. Most people want to make $10,000 a month. So you start with $10,000 a month and you go backwards as to what it is I need to do action wise to get to my result. It's what we call a result goal. And what most people focus on, and that's where depression comes in, is that they focus on the result instead of the actions that get you to the result. You never focus on the result. The result is the outcome of the action you take. You start with the goal, and then you look at what the actions are that I need to get there, right? I want to be a millionaire. Do you really, though?
They want the easy
really way. Are you willing to take the action that's going to get you to the result? Most people, the answer is no.
No.
Once they realize what they got to do, they're like, oh, well, I can't do that. I got to be home early because my girlfriend likes me home for dinner. Yeah? You think I don't got a girlfriend that wants me home for dinner? I got kids. So that's the sacrifice. So we've got the bills and the lifestyle. Now, what I also like to go over is that most people live in lifestyle and think it's freedom. It's not freedom. You got a big house, you got a nice car in the driveway, you got a job that's paying you really well, right? You're going out to dinner, you're going on trips, and bang, you lose your job. Yep. That ain't freedom. Freedom is living your lifestyle and paying your bills with smart money. And smart money is like cash flow, not a business. A business can be a job. Yep. Okay. A scaled business, on the other hand, one in which you don't necessarily need to be there, or you need to be there very little, right? That's smart money. Replacing yourself in your business is smart. Okay. I always say that owning your own business and being active in your business is still freaking smart, but it's just not smart money. You're still actively working for that money. Now, there is an asset value to a business. So obviously you're working into that. The smart money can be the asset. Then you also have leverage, right? Which is private money, credit-based lending, obviously getting you to freedom. Going back to when I was in school, why didn't somebody tell me these businesses make you $1 million?
Right.
All facets of real estate. You know it. Notaries are making $1 million. Title companies make $1 million. Real estate agents, people that sell mortgages or sell lending in general, you can easily make $1 million now, right?
Yep.
You got finance, which is what we're in. We're in fintech. That's what we're considered, fintech, financial technology. You've got the Wall Street guys, got the Bitcoin guys. I consider to myself, like, going back to the school thing, is it's like, why is it that they don't teach us how the stock market works? You're going to tell me the whole world is based on this, but they don't teach it? Explain that one to me.
That's crazy.
Okay. They're like, how's the world doing on the news? How's the world doing? Oh, we're all in red. We're in a recession because this graph says so. And everybody in school is like, I don't know how to read that graph.
Yep.
Why is that? You got to consider this. This is what people have a problem with school. They're not teaching you revenue generating activities. Why?
Be employees.
Why? That's the point. The point is why? Why are they not teaching us revenue generating activities, right? Why shouldn't we all have the ability to be LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, who skipped college and went right to the NBA and have stats that compete with Michael Jordan, who's the best? Okay, but Michael Jordan had to go to college. He didn't have a choice.
Right.
This guy's got 4 extra years.
Yeah.
How fair is that? What does it take to do that? You dial. If you've dialed for dollars?
Yeah. Just effort to drive to do it, to pick
Do
up
I
the
have
phone.
to have a 4.0 GPA for that?
No. Practice.
But I can make more than a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
So why is it that we don't teach that to people? And wouldn't you also say, like, dialing for dollars gives you confidence?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
it breaks a lot of barriers because like before you get on the phone, the anxiety you have, and then after you get off the phone, you realize like, oh, it's not anything like I thought it was going to be. Right. Actually, people are really nice. They're actually not cruel. Right. They're actually really nice. Even the people that didn't want to buy from me or have no interest. Right. Even they are nice. They don't want to hang up. Right. They're like, you know, if you're a good enough salesperson, you can keep those people on the phone, even though they really want to hang up. They're
Right.
like, no, man, I told you already, please. They're asking me, please, and I'm calling their business. It's
Yeah,
crazy, but
man.
that's what it is. You find out people innately are actually very nice, not the opposite. You think beforehand you're going to get yelled at and screamed at, and I'm bothering people, and all the things that are so fake. And that's what allows the mind to break barriers and then also provide value, which life creates. It creates a good life to be able to provide value to people, and especially to people that are way ahead of you, like the customers I was talking about who are multimillionaires. Some of them are thanking me, right? I was just a kid. I mean, I'm out now. I've been doing it 15 years, but like as a kid, I'm coming in. I mean, I'm like,
Right.
I'm a kid, right? Like these people are millionaires in the moment. I'm like working my butt off to gain their business, but I'm helping them, right? And it gives you a taste of like, wow, like I am valuable. I'm providing value to someone that is extremely valuable, right?
Solving their
Highly
problems.
revered in the area. Yeah, highly revered in the area, very well known. Some maybe even famous. You find out that like the small businesses, because we do business to business as an example, right? Like the small businesses, the owner is the same as the business owner that owns the big business. They're the same type of person. One just owns a big business, the other one owns a small business. So that's my freedom ladder. It's all all types of cash flow. In other words, right? Residual income is obviously a big one. That's what
Yeah.
we focus on. So any type of SaaS. So the hardest thing for people is to get over though their bills and their lifestyle. That's everyone's biggest break. Okay, they're like, well, what am I going to do about my car payment? You're worried about a car, like
Sell some stuff.
millionaires
Sell
don't
some
worry
goods.
about that.
Yeah.
Millionaires don't worry about a car payment, man. Like they don't. It's nothing. They're making tens of thousands a month, maybe even $100,000 a month. Do you think they care about a basic car payment?
No,
You
not
know,
at all.
no. That's the least of their worries.
I lose more money haggling than I do just paying for the price and walking away with it.
You got it, right? Exactly. So too many people, man, they're stuck down below and they need to be thinking up top, right? And so like if I could, like I said, reach out and touch, like send my tentacles out to young people, it would be if there's anything it's regarding education that they should learn, it's revenue generating activities. How to make a buck. How do I make money? How do I sell something that has more value than the dollars that somebody's paying for it,
And
whatever it
then
is?
teach them the self-control to not spend that money, but to use it to make more.
And then it's goal setting. We talk a lot about goal setting and what their goals are. Some people's goal is to buy the Camaro, and the Camaro may be a terrible asset. But if you're buying it with smart money, nobody cares. It
Right.
pays for itself,
Right.
especially if you're driving that Camaro down to a business owner and closing their account. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it costs, right? That was actually something that I went through in my career, which was, you go through, and as far just talking about goal setting, kind of getting off track, I would say. But you set goals, and then you may hear this. It's so frequent we hear it from the authority on stage, whoever that may be at the time, but they talk about how you have to move the goalpost. And so that was something we've experienced. Actually, just recently got over one of those moments. It's really hard time. It's a really hard time when you actually meet your goals, because it's hard to reposition that goalpost. It really is. It's not easy. Mentally, physically, you meet your goal, whether it's 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, whatever dollars a month, to be able to do whatever it is that you set out for, and you meet that, and then it's like you live in it, right? Now you're living in it. It's hard to get back into the next phase, right? When you have the goals that you always set out for.
Yeah.
Does that make
Some people
sense?
that way. Yeah. Some people get there and they're like, okay, now what? Or as
Yeah, they
soon as
just
I
coast
with
it
it,
out.
yeah. I mean, I finished it. I'm like, all right, that's done. What's the next one? But everybody's
Yeah,
built
so
different. So
that's my freedom ladder.
yeah.
All right, copyright 2024. All right.
And then what's the name of your company?
So yeah, so right up here, you can see over here, we're the CCPOS company. This is our original brand. We actually are rebranding in the moment to Save Your Pay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Save your pay. Nice. I like the double.
Yeah, Savior, like Lord and Savior, but
Yeah.
save your pay. Yeah. So at this moment, we have Save Your Pay, Save Your Media, Save Your Loan, Save Your CRM, Save Your Dial.com. So those
Nice.
will be all of our tentacles moving back. Yeah. So currently, our offer is that we offer a free point of sale system if you qualify. Save Your Media offers free media, e-commerce, website, social media management if you qualify. That's our main offer today, both of our companies. And Save Your Pay will replace it will replace CCPOS. So CCPOS was our first iteration. We're Core Consults LLC, okay, because I always set out to be a consulting firm more
Nice.
than just a salesperson or a sales agent or a software reseller, right? It was more about the consulting that came with the software that we sell
Yeah.
more than anything. And so I always wanted to position myself as, and our firm as, we're not hiring salespeople, we're hiring consultants. And so CC is for Core Consults, point of sale system. Yeah. So,
Nice.
but
I'm
we're
currently
getting,
a consultant on my W-2.
oh, are you really?
Yeah.
What do you consult in mainly?
Planning for industrial construction.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a mind map to say the least.
For sure.
I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that. My goodness. And there's probably a ton of liability from the people that you serve. They're risking a lot, so they need somebody like you to limit their risk. Am I right?
Yep.
So you help them limit their risk, right?
Correct.
Very important.
Correct.
It's very important. When I first got started, like I was saying, I was broke, but I was actually in school to be a doctor. I was studying biology and I had taken Calc 1, Calc 2. I've taken, anatomy, physiology 1 and 2, organic chemistry 1 and 2. I've taken physics 1, 2, and 3, I believe, which includes calculus. And my father's a physician. He's an eye doctor. And so my whole goal was to take over his practice. You may
Okay.
not remember these days, but doctors used to own their own practice.
Yeah, let like dentists do these days.
Dentists, yeah, actually one of the only physicians left that actually make money. You'd be surprised at how many doctors now just work as an employee at a hospital.
Oh, really?
So this was a transition period for me. So my father, insurance companies obviously had a big hand in why doctors no longer own their business. In my opinion, insurance companies are the evil in the world.
Yep. If you don't have them, your medical expenses is so crazy for no
Yeah,
reason.
and well, that's the whole point is that there's no reason for it, right? And what's interesting is that people talk about, not to get off topic, we'll get back on topic, but people always talk about in America how if you don't have insurance, you're screwed. And that's not true at all. Actually, if you have an emergency and you go to the emergency room and you owe the hospital that you're going to $100,000, but you have an emergency, they must take care of you. They don't have a choice. They don't look at what you owe. Also, in a lot of places, hospital bills don't even go on your credit.
Right.
Okay. So people
But
think like,
it
you're
changes
not
it
going to
once
get
in a
good
while,
care.
right?
And actually, that's not true at all. Actually, you'll get immediate care. Okay. And then in addition to that, if you don't have the money, they have a thing called care credit, some type of care where you can apply and then it'll pay for it. But
Interesting.
then going back to what you were saying about insurance companies and why it's unreasonable how much they charge or, what your medical bills are, the insurance company doesn't pay that. They don't pay the same thing that you would pay they get negotiated rates.
Right.
So if you ever look at the bill, okay, that they pay compared to what you pay, He's absorbing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the point is what most people don't know is that the hospitals take those hospital bills that you're paying in full. And when they write them off, they're writing off a ton of profit because the hospitals make tons of profit.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a way for them to write off their taxes at the end of the year. And they're using the bill that you have unpaid with no insurance to do so, right? You've got a lot of homeless people that use the ER that will never pay the bill. They don't intend to pay the bill. You have a lot of homeless people that will use the hospital for a shower, for free food, for a place to sleep. Okay. I'm not taking this out on, homeless people. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's
I
what
never
it
thought
is.
about that. Yeah.
They're smart. They're smart,
Yeah.
right? And they can't refuse them. That's the point. You can't refuse them here in America because it's the best country in the world.
Yeah.
We're going to get off that topic, but more importantly, getting back to my story is that as this was all happening, Obamacare was coming out, and I was planning on spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and giving away 8 to 12 years of my life to become a doctor. That was my plan. And really quickly, I said, I'm not doing that. And I went and worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for 2 years with my father telling me not to become a doctor. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
How many people told him he was crazy? You can imagine.
Yeah.
Looked at us like we were nuts, totally against the grain.
That was the dream. Everybody's kid become a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah. And my father's telling me, don't. He goes, Ian, you can become a doctor, but they'll never teach you how to run a business. That's what he told me. And he was absolutely right. He goes, Ian, you can always become a doctor. And I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for 2 years. And it was the most grueling thing I've ever done. I started out making $32,000 a year, working my tail off for that company to try to make my way up the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to assistant manager. I was number one salesperson month after month after month. I was number one sales office as the manager month after month after month. So I was top salesperson and sales office month after month after month. You know what I got for that?
Pat on the back.
Golf clap.
We're in the same situation, same same history, very similar.
Yeah, I had a tragedy. They always say that some of the best things happen when you hit rock bottom.
Oh yeah.
And so my rock bottom was when my mother fell down the stairs and she cracked her skull.
Wow.
And she had amnesia for 3 years, and she still
God.
has some impairments today. Yeah. So that was my number one goal. Once I was able to accomplish my goal, it was hard for me to get back on my feet. It was never about me. I didn't do this for me. So that was the hardest thing for me. And my father at the time was just telling me, Ian, you got to be in school. Ian, just do what you're doing. We're okay over here. Ian, do it, so on and so forth. And so while I was at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, my oldest brother, God bless him, he put 10 years into a corporation, and they taught him how to go door to door. And they taught him how to manage people that went door to door. And then they taught him how to own a company that manages people that manage people that go door to door. Nice. Huge door to door organization. Okay. And he made millions of dollars with that company.
Awesome.
And that company, what they would do is they would hand him different campaigns, whether it was like mobile service or, office supplies, or he'd tell me charities. Sometimes they'd go out with a bag of toys and have contests selling the bag of toys, the most ridiculous things, but it was fun. It was confidence creating.
Yeah.
And it was major impact. And so the story goes is that he had promoted managers and other owners that were under him. And the corporation had given him a campaign that essentially did not go really well. It was just a bad product or a bad offer, whatever the case may be. And he felt like he had to start all over again. And this is what corporations do, right? As soon as you start hitting your quota, what do?
Raise it.
Yeah, they readjust your quota,
yep.
Right? That's how they keep you in the box. So that's essentially what they did to him. And what happened is he was fighting through it, but one of his top offices, the owner of the top office, quits. And that was a major hit on him, right? Obviously now he's like digging on a hard campaign. And then obviously his number one office goes down. So this was where the transition started in his mind. And then he goes on to see this woman. Okay, I'm not going to say her name, but this woman who he had promoted to ownership that literally thanks him for all the advancements that she's made in life. She would thank him for. He finds out she's retired.
Wow.
She doesn't work anymore.
Underneath
She was in point of sale.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's what got him into the concept of the business that we are in today. And so he goes on to leave that company and start a business in my dad's office. So my dad owned a building where he was practicing, and he was an ophthalmologist. So he did eye surgery, and he had an optical shop. And in his building, he had a suite next to the building, to the suite that he was actually using. He owned both. And he always intended, I guess, I don't know if it was rented at one point or whatever, but it was vacant at the time. And so my dad, and again, this goes back to a good family, and I'm very thankful for this. I don't want to make it, make light of this, right? Because it is very hard for some people. And the point is that it's, though, not that hard when you know what you're doing. And that's what I want to tell those people is it might be hard now, but it's very easy to get out of that when you know what you're doing. And what you're doing in the fact of revenue generating activities, dialing, right? What to say, how to say it is everything in this game, right?
Right there. So right there, one thing is knowing how to do it, right? It's not just YouTube University. It's taking the action and practicing it, and taking the action and practicing it. Like you mentioned earlier, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, how do they get good? They practice at taking shots, and they missed a bunch
It did more
of them.
than everyone else.
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's just
And
taking the action to practice and doing it, not just learning it.
yeah. And so people always ask me, like, how do you start a business? Sell the product or service first, even before you know what you're doing. It's paid education.
Yep. On the job training.
Right? If I sell something and I'm obligated to fulfill this order, whatever it is, product or service, I'm going to do it. As long as you have the confidence in yourself and the integrity in yourself that you're going to come through for that person, regardless if you know it or not. If you put in, and most business owners specifically, and most consumers that hire, they just want the job finished, right? Because if they could do it themselves, they would. That's why they're hiring you to do it, just to get the job done, not for you to be the best. You don't need to be the best. You just need to get done what it is that they're asking you to that fulfill the order one way or the other. Needless to say, they move into the suite, and I'm still working at Enterprise at my wit's end, but I'm still just trudging through. I mean, I don't know how else to state it. I mean, it was, to get my mind off of it every night. And Ashley used to tell me to stop running because she'd never see me. Because when I got home from work, I would go on miles and miles and miles of running just to put myself through more pain. That's what I used to think to myself. Like, if I put myself through more pain, then I can handle the pain I'm in, right? It's like a threshold. And what happened is that my oldest brother eventually calls me and says, Ian, we need you in the family business. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. And so he goes on to tell me why, which was my youngest brother has been taking 8 months off. He hasn't worked in 8 months. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean he's not working? Like, he hasn't worked in 8 months. What do you mean? Yeah, he's making 60 grand a year without working. He doesn't need to work anymore.
This was back
he's
when?
Making 60 grand. This was 13 plus years ago.
Wow.
My youngest brother, he was maybe 18 at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's making 60 grand a year residually. Doesn't have to work anymore for that money. And so they actually coined him No Pants Lance, because he would come down with no pants on. He'd sit in front of the TV with the remote. He'd watch his favorite TV shows. He'd pause his shows to answer the phone in what they coined was the money chair. Okay?
Nice.
He would answer the phone. He would handle either rep phone calls, or he would handle referrals, or he would handle prospect phone calls. He'd put his pants off, drive over, close the deal, come back to the money chair, sit back down and watch TV.
He said
maybe play some basketball.
And he started when he was 17. So in 1 year.
Started when he was 17 years old, working and selling to, and this goes to my point, right? Which is, the confidence, the know-how, the revenue generating activities. He had my oldest brother showing him how these revenue generating activities from, in a very systematical way, that all you need to do is follow these things, because he had been doing it for 10 years prior to that. So that's how I got involved. And originally he had flown down to Florida actually to get started, my youngest brother, to show us. But then we ended up the territory was much different here where we live now. We live in Florida now. But the territory was much different here than it is up in the Northeast. It's a gold mine in the New York, DC, Philadelphia area. You've just got businesses galore. I pulled a leads list for one of my reps here in Florida, and I did all the restaurants in a 35-mile radius, and there were 2,000. And I did the same thing in the same sitting. I did the same thing, 35-mile radius for a guy that lived, for one of my reps in New Jersey, 20,000 restaurants.
Oh, wow. 10X. Crazy.
Okay. Yeah. So
There's
there's
so
your
much more
sacrifice.
Condensed in New Jersey than Miami, right?
Everybody wants to live in paradise. Come on, Edgar, right?
Yeah.
So what did we do? We left. I went to school in Florida. That's where I met Ashley. Okay. Went to college together here in Florida. We left Florida to go up north. Ashley had never seen snow before. She never drove in snow. I don't even know if she still does. I'd have to ask her. I think she made me drive every time, to be honest. Okay. It still freaks her out today. Okay. Meanwhile, we used to, chase the freaking, the storms up into the mountains. She had no experience that. Okay. And in the dead of winter, we're out going door to door.
Wow.
We have stories like you wouldn't believe.
Nobody else is doing it, right?
More so. Actually, you get what we call the sympathy buyer.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
There's nothing more than a hustler likes to see than the hustle. And every business owner we meet is a hustler. They wouldn't be there without being so. They weren't handed anything. Okay. Right. And if they were handed something, they're now hustling their butts off. So let's not, people always say, well, they were handed. No, they weren't handed nothing. Okay. Because if a lot of people that were handed whatever it was, $1 million business, $10 million business, okay, the money doesn't last if you don't know what you're doing and you don't do the right things. It don't matter how much money it is. I've seen it with my own eyes where the next generation comes in and literally ruins the business. What the key is that we went all up north, and that kind of connects the dots with how we ended up at my folks' place. Who would do that? How many people, Edgar, would swallow their pride and go move back with their mom and dad with their girlfriend years out of college?
Yeah. With 6 other people in the house.
Supposed to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Edgar. Okay. But I had a dream. Okay. Now, again, I was lucky and I was blessed. I was able to see, and this is another part of the sales process is, seeing someone deep down is no better than you and is doing way better than you. And you're like, if this guy can do it. Now, that happened to be my youngest brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And we've grown up together, and I knew I'd whoop his butt in anything that we ever did. Anyway, that's probably not all true.
Oh,
but,
yeah, that brotherly competition. Of course.
Right. Okay. We know that competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say that it was a little easier for me to have that in me, that feeling of like, man, if this guy can do it. Right.
Yeah. Especially having a proof of concept so close.
And yes, having the proof of concept and one that I could trust. That's the other thing, right? All these gurus out there. You get yourself in, people teaching you things they've never even done themselves.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
How many of those people are out there today?
Too many.
You've got the hesitation of who you can trust. Then there's also obviously the way it's delivered, the system and the processes. And then there's also the actual applicable, actually utilized steps that we actually go and do with people, right? That my brother did with me. I didn't do this alone. He went out with me. Okay. But let me also ask you, how many people do you know that would swallow their pride and work as a shadow of their youngest brother? 6 years. I think he's 5 or 6 years younger than me.
Yeah. Not many at all.
Not many. Okay. But that's where, again, you set your goals, and then you got to know what the actions are. And each and every business we get ourselves into, right? I always say with entrepreneurs is that we don't mind being the new guy. We don't care.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. I have no embarrassment button on my body. I don't have one. You can't embarrass me. I don't get that feeling. I may feel it. The best thing that you can do, and what people will say, is you emulate success.
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
question it. You don't question it. But yeah, man, that's my whole story. I'm the type of guy that, obviously I was a bio major, so I believe a lot in science and math, right? And in the science of the fact that, here goes towards some of my viewpoints in, how we have given away our best years. You've heard me say that in school. I also
Hmm.
believe that as human beings, we are animals. We can't dispute that. And not only are we animals, but we are herding animals.
Right.
And so, with that, what I believe, and then, I don't want to get into politics, but I believe we were being herded in the wrong direction by a herder that knows they're leading us off the plank. Okay. And there's some of that in the school system.
Oh yeah. 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 For sure.
Okay. You are knowingly holding back valuable information from me that would allow me to be out on my own, know and understand for myself how to make money. And then I don't need you.
Very few of us that do that and they can think of it, because a lot of them, like you said, herd mentality. Not everybody can be a leader of the herd,
You got it.
so they just lump it all together. But sometimes you do get that one teacher or two teachers that will point you in the right direction. I don't know if Ashley told you
Absolutely.
the story with
Totally.
the speaker we had, Tim Story. His sixth grade teacher told him just out the blue, said, "Hey, stay after class." He goes, "You are brilliant and you're going to change lives." And that's where he started, was just from that one teacher taking the time to tell him that. And I luckily I had about four good teachers that just told me little different things like that. Like one teacher told me that he goes, "Hey, you have the smoothest tongue that I've ever heard," in 10th grade. But I didn't know what to do with it then, Just yeah, just the people that you're meet.
Yeah. And this goes towards, though, like the fact that, like, again, it's revenue generating
Mhm.
activities.
Yeah,
Activities.
but revenue
That's the
generating,
key.
because everybody has activities. Some are
Yes.
revenue
It's the
spending.
exactly.
It's
It's
like
not,
social media. You use it
you
to
know,
either
amplifying someone's strengths is one thing, but what do I do with those strengths? What do I do? How do I use those strengths for revenue generating activities? That's what people need to connect the dots. That's what they need in their life. How do I make money? Nothing else matters. I'm sorry. Nothing else matters.
right.
At least in the life that I live in today, right?
No, in general,
It's
you need
nothing
it
else
to be
matters.
yep, because that
So,
can help other people. You need money to help people, to help yourself, to progress, to
anything and
grow,
everything that goes on in
food.
your life,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. We talked about the girlfriend, the wife, the house, the car, the kids, all of it. All of it requires endless amounts of money. Okay. And so the point is that you can either beg for the money, right? Or beg for the position, okay, which is what I call a resume, or you can pave your own way. And that's what's missing, in my opinion, is that at a school is you have more of a curriculum of learning than you do have of here's how it's done, step by step by step. If you do this, this is what entrepreneurs, they're successful entrepreneurs will do. If you emulate their success, they have a system that they follow to that generates them their success. Okay. And people pay tens of thousands. We talk, obviously we're talking about Owners Club, right? Even with
Yep.
Pace Morby, everybody in those groups are like hounding. I've seen them like pulling on his shirt, okay, trying to get as much information out of him as possible. And it's really about systems and processes.
Oh yeah.
They're all selling the same product,
How?
right?
Yep.
Okay. So you need the proper leader. I feel like we have that today, thank God. Okay. And, sometimes the coach that leads you in the right to the winning game, right, into the winning team, that makes you that glue that you need, is the hardest, most difficult person in your life, that makes you push harder than you want to, that puts you through the worst pain. If you're a winner, that's what you need. Unfortunately, that's what it takes. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. and you have to have that mentality, in my opinion, at least with my experience. That's ultimately my story. That's where we came from. Ashley originally wanted to be a lawyer, and she, I think, still has a semester of college that she hasn't done. She kept wanting to do it, and we're like, why? What are you
Why?
waste your time? We don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
And that's the point. What are they going to teach you? What are they going to teach you that just to get the paper,
Yeah, that's
just to
all it
get it
is.
done?
College is just to pay for it. You don't even.
The first 2 years of college is a repeat of high school.
Yep.
It's a waste. And then I get out of college and I'm pissed. Me personally, out of my experience, I was pissed. I was like, how the hell did I get here? I had A's and B's in the most difficult courses in school. How did I get here? I felt let down. I had an advisor, okay?
Yeah.
They were supposed to advise me. They need a new name. They're not an advisor. They're no type of an advisor, okay? And this becomes my point, right? They're herding you into what you have to do or what you're supposed to do, and that herd just follows everyone else. And actually, if you break off and you do a community college, which is what I did, because I wasn't looking at like taking out major debt to go to a college that's far away, like all my other friends did who got into drugs and alcohol. I was looking at like, man, I don't want to spend all that. My dad paid for my oldest brother and my older brother. When it got to me, I'm paying for my old college. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Right? I'm taking out federal loans as is. I'm still paying those federal loans down.
Yep.
They're biting at your heels as soon as you get out of school. You're like, oh, I got no money yet. What are you like? You have to be. I got no money.
Yeah, for sure.
And I got friends. This is my separation between friends and the people you grew up with. You don't choose the people you grew up around.
No.
No, God put you there, but you do choose your friends.
Yeah, for sure.
And later in life, you also choose, in most cases, where you live and who you live around.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Early on in life, the friend, this is the whole thing where this, where they talk about how, you have to drop your friends, like having to replace your friends. That
Mhm.
is the hardest thing to do,
You outgrow them if
in
you're
my opinion.
progressing. Yeah, for sure.
It's very hard because you grew up around them. You have all the stories from when you were kids,
Your comfort
right?
level.
You're just comfortable with them. But you know what? You grow apart very quickly once you start growing up.
Yep.
You become totally different people, but yet you try to stay together, and it's not healthy. It doesn't take you to the place you need to be who you need to be. And that was really hard for me. Not going out on the weekends to see my friends, they're still going to the same places on the weekends, like same bars, same thing. Like if I would have stuck around that, it got to a point where I'm spending my time with them, but I'm looking at my watch, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Just playing along just because I don't want to lose contact with these people I grew up around.
Right.
They're not providing me any value, right? And actually, there became a point in my career when I found this gold of a business and I was like, holy crap, right? I'm changing the trajectory of my entire life. I will never be the guy I once was, and nobody can take that from me,
Right.
right? Once I started feeling this, I was elated by it. And I started telling people about it. And they weren't ready for the message.
Right. Been there.
They condemned me for it. Yeah, they condemned me for it. It was like a jealousy thing.
Yep.
They started hating me because of it.
Yep.
And I also believe in some respect that, competition is healthy, but we shouldn't be competing with one another, right? We should be
Yeah.
working together.
That's where you made a good choice when your brother was being successful. You weren't jealous of him. You
No,
you took it and
I
said,
don't
"Hey,
have
how do
that.
I do that as well?"
I don't have that. I don't have that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
And it
all
wasn't for
mindset
me.
as well.
It was for my parents. I was at the point in time where and we had a pact. We were going to retire my parents, and now they're retired.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. It's a feeling that's worth every painful second of every day. I'm getting to where we're at. And that's where my love for our business supersedes the business itself. In that, like, again, when I talk about young people, if I had the voice, Ashley is going to be my voice. She's doing a phenomenal job. We talk about this a lot between the two of us about how, first off, I couldn't do what she does. I mean, first off, she's much prettier than I am. She was a theater major,
Okay.
so she was very good and on stage and with scripts. And don't get me wrong, I'm good with scripts, but sales scripts are very different than the scripts that you need to be ready for like a 45-minute speech, right?
Right.
So it just so happens my story, the one I'm telling you today, is part of my sales pitch. If you don't have a good story, right? I go back to this a lot with, have you ever been to a gallery?
Like a picture
Like
gallery,
where
like
there's
artist.
paintings? Yeah,
Yeah.
like paintings,
Yeah.
paintings and stuff.
My wife's an artist.
Oh, your wife's an artist?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're going to really relate to this. You're going to love
She did
this.
that back there.
Oh, she did that. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so you guys probably go in there. I make fun of Ashley all the time about this.
Hey, that's
She
good
always
to
puts
be
her
made fun of each
she
other.
always puts her hands behind her back and looks at it with such elegance and what the brush strokes are. And I'm like, give me a break. I'm not minimizing what artists do. Don't get me wrong. I'm just playing. But the point of my story is that when you go into a gallery, okay, and you're looking at the paintings like Ashley does, somebody will come up and ask you, do you need any help with anything? Help with what? I'm looking at a painting, right? But the point is they're trying to sell that painting off the wall to you, right?
Right.
Okay, so that painting by itself is just a painting. So to give you an example, we were in Key West on a cruise and we're looking at a painting, and the painting was it a tree or a tree stump, Ash? The painting in Key West, was it a tree or a tree stump? Was it a full-grown tree? Okay. It was a full-grown tree, as she remembers it. It was a picture of a tree. Okay. So you could, obviously, I already told you how I feel about this. And she's got her hands behind her back looking at the brushstrokes, right? It's a tree.
Right.
The tree was $30,000. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive tree in the forest. And this guy comes over and asks us if we need any help. And so he starts telling us about this tree. He shows us on the painting in the bottom left the longitude and latitude of the tree that's still existing in the forest today. And suddenly, as this guy's going through this story, the tree starts coming off the wall and becomes animated, right? It's now not just a painting on a wall, it becomes something more than that, something I can feel, right? Something that has meaning to me. And yet I didn't feel any of that. Don't get me wrong. It was just a tree to me.
Right.
But Ashley, she was begging me to buy this $30,000 painting that was just a tree. Okay,
Selling
by
the
the end of this
story.
guy's sales pitch, just the sales pitch was the story of the tree. Okay. And then the way the artist painted it. And, I can't remember all the details, but whatever it was very, very, very intriguing. Okay. And obviously I'm a salesperson, so I'm listening into this, knowing how captivating this story was that he had ready for this tree.
Right.
And story is one of the 5 parts of the sales cycle.
That's the thing about being a salesperson. You listen to it like, hey, that's an excellent job. I'm not your buyer, but good luck to you next time.
Yeah.
What do you mean good luck?
I
go, well, you did a real good job with sales, but I'm in sales as well, so I know the tricks to it.
Yeah. If it wasn't $30,000,
Yeah. Does it come with NFT?
That's my story. And we've been doing this now 15 years, and God has really blessed us. That's for sure. It didn't come with, and nothing more than the most hard work I probably could have put out for myself. Obviously, we've retired my parents. My parents live in Florida in a condo that I own. They live on the beach. Their biggest decision every day is what they're going to have for food and whether they're going to the pool. And my dad is a crypto fanatic. So he is.
He wants the tree. If it has
investing heavily. Let's put it that way. Investing heavily. They're doing really well. And that was my first goal. So once I met that goal and I was able to substantiate, when we were kids, it was just Ashley and I. Like as if we're not kids now, right, Ash? Can you believe I just said that? So, but when we really didn't need much, to live the life that we really felt like was abundance at the time. 10 grand a month was a ton of money.
Oh yeah.
And we were able to live on our own. We were able to travel different places. We used to work relentlessly. We worked all throughout college, had our college tuition paid for, working as the food staff. So Ashley was a lunch lady. Okay. You can imagine how demoralizing that may have been, right? She was the lunch lady with the hairnet, right? Ashley, you wear a hairnet, right, girl? Sometimes when they made it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about
Oh
that.
yeah,
I was in the catering department. I would set up the food. I would be the person that would replace the food, take the old food away from the fraternity and the sorority that were part of the class, right? So these are my fellow classmates, and I'm
yeah,
essentially their servant,
right.
right? Oh, I spilled something, Ian. Can you clean that up for me? That was me.
Yeah,
Okay. And, that gave me what was like the chip on my shoulder, right? Like I knew every single day, I knew I'm not this guy. I'm not this guy. I'm in this guy's body, but this is not me. I knew I was going to amount to more. I didn't know how to get there,
right.
right? This goes towards revenue generating. I didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't know, but I was
Same.
waiting and sitting on the bench for somebody to be like, "Hey, Ian, you're in." That happened to be my brothers. Thank God. Really,
Yeah,
thank God. Seriously, God Himself. Thank Him. Well, I thank Him every day. And so, that's what we did. I mean, we worked to the school together. We've worked together every single day that we've been together, and we grew this business together. And it's been, a lot of people will ask, like, is it hard? And yes, of course it's hard. Business is hard. What I can say about it is first off, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Okay. Because there's really one person on this planet that I trust the way that I trust Ashley, and it's her. There's nobody else, actually. So when it comes to all the things that you need to trust somebody with in business, right? We always had it out to help each other, right? And do we fight? Yeah, absolutely. Does it get heated? 100%. Normally it's me, to be fair. I'm a yeller. She'll tell you. I am very demanding. Okay. It is not easy to be with me. That's for sure. You can ask her. I'll let her be honest. I demand a lot of myself. Okay. And I demand a lot of her. Right. Because our customers demand a lot of us. So does our circumstances at the time. Our circumstances demanded a lot of us. Right. I told you how my mother fell down the stairs. I felt responsible for that. I was under a lot of pressure. I mean, can you crack under pressure? For sure. But,
oh yeah,
she understood, right? And that's where the relationship comes in, right? Like we can have a really heated argument. I can tell her she's completely wrong. She can fight back and tell me I'm completely wrong. And then it's like, what do you want to have for dinner?
agree to disagree.
Who's taking the kids to camp? Like, where are we going for, you want to go to Disney still, or, like whatever it may be, it always goes out. We don't forget that conversation. That's our business conversation. We always revisit the business conversation, and it
Right,
always gets heated in certain circumstances, right? Sometimes she's right and sometimes I'm right. The main idea is that, it doesn't matter who your partner is, you're going to have disagreements with them,
right.
right? And I'd rather keep it within the family at the end of the day. If I always say that, like, we've hired family members in the past, I would say it day in and day out is, under all circumstances, you know, at least it was a family member that was able to benefit, right? As opposed to a complete stranger.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more I got out of my story, but that's my full wind of it right there.
Yeah.
And we've been rather successful. I think overall we're in the process now of scaling. So as we talked about with the new brand over here,
Yeah.
so our old brand, we now are creating a new brand. This new brand is going to be phenomenal. It's a whole new facet of the company with the media. I was lucky to be able to acquire a guy that's 25 years in digital advertising. He got laid off, and it was the hardest time of his life, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to him. And his hardest time ended up being the best thing that happened to the company. It's funny how that works, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Because what I would tell you is no matter how great the opportunity was that I was offering, if he was making the same money he was making before he got laid off, would not have considered this because he was stuck in lifestyle and he thought it was freedom.
Gotcha.
And he, like very many people, stuck in lifestyle are unwilling to sacrifice their lifestyle for smart money. That's why most people don't invest, right?
Yeah.
That's why most people don't have savings, right? That's why most people live paycheck to paycheck, because they always live to or above their means, always.
Yeah. Too
And I'm a
large
product of that
portion.
same thing. So let me get you on. Let's be honest there. Like, I'm a product of the same thing. The only difference is that I'm living on cash flow, right? I'm living at or above my means with smart money. It's a lot easier to cut expenses than it is to build profit.
Yeah,
A
but
lot
if you
easier
lose
to
your
cut
job
expenses.
tomorrow, you still have cash flow.
You got it.
So
You
you're
know, nobody
fine.
can take it away. I'd have to lose hundreds and hundreds of businesses telling Ian and CCPOS and Ian's agents all across, right, that they no longer want to do business with them and me. It could happen, I guess, but it would be a very hard thing to uncoil. You understand?
Yeah.
So the diversity of where all the money is. Some deals are huge. Some deals are extremely micro small. Okay. But even the micro small ones, there's hundreds of them, and it amounts to a lot. And the risk of losing that money is less than the risk of losing the big deal. Because when you lose the big deal, man, it's a huge hit, right?
Right.
We can lose tons of small ones and it still make a very little dent on, you know, what you're making on those small deals, right? If you have a ton of them.
Right.
They understand what I'm getting at.
Yeah, the
I think
percentage
that's
of
more
each one
involved.
is the more you have, the smaller the percentages that it's going to affect you.
Right. So most people only look at like, well, what's my residual on this deal? Right. And it's like, it's not a matter of that. It's hungry, hungry hippos, man. You know, it's just keep banging on the thing and getting those balls. You don't
Stack
look
them up,
at how
baby.
much.
Stack them
Yeah.
up.
You don't look at them. You don't look at how much. It's not a matter of that. Action leads to results. What about you, Edgar? What's your plan for entrepreneurship? What's your plan for, you know, the podcast? What's your plan for, you know, phase 2 or 3, I guess, of your life? How do you, you know, where are your goals today?
Trying to get them focused in.
Clarity?
So,
You need clarity?
yeah. I feel like I'm a ball of lightning. I was telling Ashley this. Anything that's close by, I'll shoot for it and grab it. So currently, I have Turo. I started that during COVID.
Okay.
Then I have Airbnb. I use that to retire my mom. And
Wow. Congrats.
then I have a sober living house.
Fantastic.
I do a little bit of wholesale. I have my W-2. I have an e-com store that's on the
Yeah. E-com stores are tough.
yeah. And then I'm always just looking for there's a Edgar the connector, you know. So
Yeah.
my brother does insurance and he does payroll as well. So I know he uses a point of sale system to say, hey, let me get him switched over, let me get an affiliate, and then I know
Oh,
I'm gonna run
dude.
into more
Yes.
people that use
Payroll
it.
is a phenomenal option, you know, and this is part of my, you know, I always talk about this, which is what I call the 3 do's. You ready for more, Hager?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
The 3 do's. Okay. Okay. People always ask, well, how do I get started? Right. And it's like, well, you need the 3 do's. And so what the 3 do's are is what I did do, what I do now, and what I want to do.
What I did do, what I do now, what I want to do.
Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, well, I want to do this, but what did you do? And what are you doing now? Is it applicable to that? Like, are your strengths applicable to that? Right. If not, I'm not telling you can't do that. You can, but it's going to be a hard road, right? You're like
Right.
literally starting out from scratch. Right. So with do now, and what I want to do with payroll, it's what I call a lateral move. You can take on something that's lateral to what it is that you're already doing. It's much easier to sell that or to offer this if it fits into the mold of what I'm already doing, and that's payroll.
Yeah.
That's payroll. So with payroll, with accounting, with consulting, with you know, when you have these particular customers and they hold you in high regard, and those customers need another product or service, the question is, this is the 5th part of the sales cycle, which is called rehash. You rehash with them other products and services.
Right.
Right.
Things that tie
That
in to
fit the
complement each
mold.
other.
I already got this guy. You know, he needs stuff like this business owner, he needs things, right? Or in Solar's case, like he's a homeowner. Homeowners need pest control. They need security. They need, you know, whatever, you know, they need carpets, you
Landscape
know,
maintenance. Yep.
landscaping. They need, right. Okay.
Air
So
filter
that's the
changes.
concept. A lot easier to go through the list of people that already know who you are, right? Than to go out and get brand new business, okay? Which is what I had to do setting out. And again, the younger you are, the easier it is to do that, to reinvent yourself. It's much easier to reinvent yourself when you're younger, right? As you get older, it's much harder, much harder.
Yeah, for sure.
So as far as your brother, man, I look forward to that. That's going to be phenomenal for him and a slam dunk for sure. And part of what I end up, getting a little bit further, because most people will be like, getting back to with the 3 do's and getting started is, and you probably hear this a lot, which is people will say, well, as soon as I know everything, it's like, I've been doing this 15 years and I still don't know everything. Give me a break.
Yep.
Okay. Give me
analysis, paralysis.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. And it's like, oh, those people are the worst. Those people are just get on the phone and dial.
Yeah. That's what they've been really pushing into is progress over perfection.
Dude, just rip the Band-Aid off and get moving. Right. Just rip the Band-Aid off. And so like, as far as your brother goes, man, that's a slam dunk for him. And it's something that, if he does properly with the book of business that he currently has, I mean, the money's endless, dude. Endless. The amount of money that's out there in this industry today is shocking. Okay. And when we first got started, we were going door to door and we would drive an hour and be in the snow or slush, okay, slushing around, okay, for a deal that made us $20 a month in residual income. And we're like, okay, if I get 5 of those, that's $100 a month. Today, you can make $700,000 a month on a deal. Easy.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot more money in the game today. And a lot of times, the biggest barrier to entry is the relationship. At the end of the day, as far as getting back to getting started is, and I went over this, Brenda.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, I don't know.
Some EMD funding together.
Yeah. She was saying, or Ashley was saying, right. Yeah. So what's funny about that is, getting started is the hardest part. And what people mean by as soon as I know everything is as soon as I have confidence. And so, the way we break this down is there's 3 areas of confidence. There's confidence in yourself, which you should have on your own, right? I don't need to give you confidence. You should have confidence in yourself that you're smart, that you pick things up quickly, or if you don't pick things up quickly, that you will pick things up because you're going to apply yourself, right? You're not an idiot. I would hope that you believe that of yourself,
Right.
Then it's confidence in the product or service, right?
For sure.
All right. And then confidence in the system.
Yep.
And so, when somebody gets started, they have to put their trust in whom they're doing business with to have confidence in the product or service, and then have confidence in the system because they're following their system. If they're smart, right? Like the coach is like, run over here and do that and do this, right? If you do all these things, we're going to win this year, right? Like we're like, yes, coach, sir, right? Like,
full circle back to Michael Jordan with, hey, trust your teammates. With Phil Jackson, trust the system, and became a champion. So yeah.
You got it, right? You just followed the system that was provided to him. Happened to be the number 1 coach in the game, right? Phil Jackson. Just like you said, right? And so and this goes towards the herder, right? He happened to have the proper herder. And I think life is very much access, right? You see these kids today, I like tennis, but you see these kids, there's this Asian kid. Have you seen the Asian kid?
Not in tennis, no.
Okay, playing, he's I think 10 years old, okay? And he's hitting with Federer's coach. It's like, of course you're phenomenal.
Yep.
But not everybody has access to Federer's coach at that age, right? Let's get serious, right? And so this is where, again, you got it. You're a product of your circumstance. You're a product of your environment, right? And then this goes back to my science, which is we are animals of adaptation. We adapt to our circumstances, right? So,
or stay behind.
So that's phenomenal, man. Sounds like you've done a lot, dude. you haven't just stuck yourself in a box with your W-2. You said that's your W-2. I didn't realize how far your tentacles went. It sounds like you've been very successful, which is phenomenal. And tell me, like, what was a part of your success? Like, what would you contribute your success to? Was it just the hustle? Was it like, were you in your W-2? Did you hate your W-2? Are you still in your W-2 just simply because
Health benefits
or
and a nice
health
salary.
benefits
Yeah, it's
and
mainly
a
remote.
what? And a nice salary.
Yeah. You know what they say
Mainly
about a job
remote.
though, right? The job is just over broke.
Just yeah. It's the ball and chain. It's the
Yeah.
ball and chain.
Yeah, cuz
Yeah, time is worth a lot more than
I
the
was
money you make.
I was recruited to be a consultant. I was a planner for the last 5 years in industrial construction. In construction, you're contractors. You work yourself out of a job. So we finished the work, and I asked for my layoff right before the work was ending after leaving a conference. And then I was like, I'm going all in with real estate. I already had one property that was a rental, and I was like, dude, there's no cap here. Doing it yourself, being at this job,
Right.
uncapped, and then um,
Yeah.
and that job I was referred by the client, which was Exxon, to the construction company, which was Performance. But they would always call me the Exxon guy because I wasn't their click. I wasn't their real hire, even though I qualified for everything when I did my
Right.
interviews.
Right. I hate that part.
But I wasn't an LSU person because they're all
I
from
was
the
never a
area.
brown nose. I was
Yeah, me
never a
neither.
brown noser. I
I'd always tell
hated
them
that.
what they needed to hear, not what they wanted to hear.
I
If
could
you,
never understand how people moved up quickly,
yeah,
like I couldn't understand what their game was. Like how did you, like I would always watch these like, and this was again, for people that are in this position, at least using my own experience as an example, like I always felt like I was better than those people. I'm like, why are they choosing those people?
oh
Right?
yeah,
Like, why are these people moving ahead of me? They're not better than me. Why are they
because
moving ahead of me? What are
that
they
brown
doing that
nosing,
I'm not
brown
doing?
nosing.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, to be honest, but just, I want to say for people that are feeling that, you got to get out of your environment. You can't allow that to dictate your life. You can't. You got to make a change. You got to find somewhere where you feel valued,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And that's how you feel when you do a freaking Airbnb. Like these people, they put a review down. How great is it to go
Oh
through
yeah,
your reviews? Okay, you see what I'm
five
saying? It's so
stars,
elevating, right?
super
It's so
host.
elevating. You're
Oh
like,
yeah,
I own that right there.
yeah.
Like
Now we got guest favorite. Yeah.
yeah,
Turo gives you all star host.
yeah. Or the consultant, even in the consulting gig, right? Like, I mean, you're not doing it on your own, but it's still very valuable in that, like, the person you're consulting for, they see tremendous value out of what you do, right?
Yeah,
If you could think of something though, like, and I don't know that space, but like, if you could think of something that what I would call a lateral move in that position, maybe it's not being a consultant on your own, but yet like offering a piece of the pot somewhere in there that you can offer on your own as a vendor. And it's something that fits right in there. You have all this list of people that you thought that you've now worked with. They know the type of work that you do. They know who you are already, right? Sort of like the payroll situation, right? And all you got to do is plug this thing in. Hey, Mark, what's
oh
up,
yeah,
man? Yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, dude. Hey, so anyway, I got this new thing for you. Plug it in. You
yep.
know?
So with my real estate, I'm gonna be building up a lot more properties to do like co-living. That's part of our Mount Everest that if Ashley's told you about
Oh yeah,
pacing
the
and all that.
Montana first. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so affordable housing. I have a sober living right now with 11 door members, and
Wow,
then
congrats, dude. That's a
thank
great
you,
business.
thank you. And then we're
Yeah.
going to be working on another house in the Heights. We're gonna do pad split in about 8 rooms. So little by little, I'll be building that up. But also in my job, a lot of these people have 401k and can become private money partners. So I'm starting to plant that seed about, hey,
There you go. Okay, there you go. See, right, exactly. They
yeah,
got money, in other words.
yep,
Good place
yep,
to be.
for
Good
sure,
place to be.
for
Yeah.
sure.
It's really, it's really funny because, Ashley, I don't know if she told you about the property, the 5 bedroom house. She actually got it on prop.ai tag, prop.ai. But it was a 5 bedroom house in Orlando that the guy wants 100 grand down. So it was really funny because I'm like, you know, we need to get 100 grand, like we're going to get 100 grand. So I like start calling my customers.
Nice.
Yeah. And actually one of them, he's famous. So I know he's got tons of money. Okay.
Yeah.
He just became, I mean, just became over the last 5 years, became famous, like super famous. And he's like doing a deal right now in New York City with Bradley Cooper. You know who Bradley Cooper is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing a big deal with Bradley Cooper right now. And actually, I think I got the deal. Which, by the way, I almost got pushed out by by Coop's business team. All right, they almost pushed me out, and I pushed myself back in. They got like Harvard guys and like Yale guys and stuff.
I used to work at a cell phone company, and I was a top
Yeah,
2% in the nation. In the area that I worked in, there was a couple of basketball players that came by. So I still have
cool.
their numbers. And I'm like, I need to learn this more to show that I have credibility to be able to reach out
Credibility,
with them.
yes.
Yeah, they reach out to them and say, hey, man, I got this investment deal, this and that. I don't know if you remember me from Sprint when I gave you that excellent customer service.
There you go, man. I would do that in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
like
was
how many people have fear of that phone call? That's the key. Like they want, again, the dues, right? That what they want, right? But then they're willing to give that up. And that's the shame. That's the shame,
yeah,
over some, discourse they have in their mind with themselves. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. So that's really amazing. So like how long you've been in the real estate game prior to Owners Club, obviously.
so like the real estate investing, really 2 years, year and a half. January will be 2 years.
January will be 2 years. Oh,
Yeah,
really? So you've moved rather quickly, huh?
yeah,
Wow, that's really fantastic, dude.
yeah. What's crazy though is I actually did my first sub two when I was 17, but nobody shows you direction. You didn't have internet back in 98 to be able to know what to do with it. I actually did a sub two and a house hack. So if I had kept that and had that running, I could have been so further ahead.
Yeah. That's how it works out, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I
man.
started cutting grass when I was like seven. I sewed candy when I was in sixth grade.
Really,
Um, oh yeah, I've been doing lots of hustle since I was young to just pay for my stuff and not ask my mom for anything.
I was the complete opposite. I was the complete opposite. I never had money. My parents never gave me money, and I was just into sports. I was just into sports. Played a lot of hockey, and it was just school. My parents used to always tell me, "School is your job.
Yeah,
School is your job," and that's what I did. I just followed that, and then I just thought it would take me somewhere, and I mean, ultimately, it did. I don't want to degrade what I did learn from school. Obviously, I learned a lot, mathematics specifically. I think I really lean on my mathematics. What got you over the hump? Like, what was it that, I guess you were always at it? You were selling candy, you were doing this, right? So you were always looking on the side for something, and it was just natural to you at that point, or?
yeah. I just remember cutting I think my yard, and then my neighbor was like, "Hey, would you cut my yard? I'll pay you this much." I was like, "What?" And then just started asking neighbors, knocking on the doors. Hey, 7 years old, knocking doors. I didn't even think about that. Knocking doors at
What about the
7.
real estate? What about the real estate? What interested you
Oh
into that?
man.
Like, what made you feel like you could win that game?
I guess when I did the house hack, I was like, hey, you can have a house and then hack it and get it for
Right.
inexpensive and just keep on doing it over and over. And then at that time, most millionaires were either like stocks or real estate. So it was all about becoming a millionaire. And then, but I just didn't take action because we got stuck in doing other things, working W-2 in the plants. My wife wanted to go back to school. And so I changed industries. Even when I worked at Sprint, I was top 2% sales in the nation. And we
Right.
maxed out at 40K a year, which
Wow.
was
Right. Isn't that
ridiculous.
crazy? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. How can you live on that? How can you live on that? It's crazy.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out a way to do real estate. And then I found out about wholesaling. Then I found out about Pace. And then I was like, whoa, you can do it this way. And
How long ago did you find out about Pace? 2 years.
yeah, probably right at 2 years because,
Oh, really? Wow.
you see, yeah. So in 2020, we moved from our townhouse that we bought. Took us 20 years to finally rent it out when we moved. And then I did long-term rental on that for 2 years and we broke even though we're cash flowing $600 a month. Then I was like, this isn't enough. And then I found out about PACE, and I was like, okay, I'm already in a mentorship, but I don't want to pay for PACEs yet. How can I learn his system? So I got in the Sub 2 free group, and I sold my townhouse on a wrap to a Sub 2 student so I can get the
You're
contract,
kidding.
find out the servicing company, the titling company, and then just reverse engineer it from there.
No way.
Yeah.
Super cool. Very cool. Yeah, that is definitely. I mean, that just goes to show you. Here's another saying for you, which is, obviously the magician always has his trick,
Right.
right? And so, I mean, once you know the trick, it's not really magic anymore. It's like, when you go to Las Vegas and, the guy's like floating
Yeah.
and like, you're like, hey, honey, check it out. He's floating. Dude, he's freaking levitating. And they're like, you're like, yeah, I've seen that before. And meanwhile, the guy's
Oh, yeah.
levitating, he's like in the air. And that's an old one. Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah.
he's defying the laws of gravity,
For
So
sure.
like, that's what it is, man. I mean, until you know the trick, like, I mean, and I don't know how Pace does it. I really don't know how Pace does it with, his influence. I mean, he's obviously a phenomenal guy, and he just releases everything that he has done and what he knows. And it's obviously allowed Ashley to excel also. I think you guys are both a product of that.
Yeah, for sure. I
Pretty
realized that
amazing.
when I was at the
Yeah,
last retreat, I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I a helper? And I think I realized there that because I didn't get help when I was little, when I was younger, I didn't have anybody to help me out.
for sure.
Even like my
Definitely.
mom was there,
I
but
can
she
see
was
that.
working lots of jobs.
I
I
can
was
see
taking care
that.
of my brother. My mom was working. I was
Yeah.
taking care of my brother. So there wasn't even from
You're like
her.
fulfilling what you needed.
Yeah,
Ain't that something? Ain't that something? It's crazy.
like you
Yeah,
said, the
we
struggle. If you weren't broke, if you don't struggle, you don't have that drive, you don't have that necessity, and to figure out the need to try to progress forward to better yourself. If you have it all, you're not going to better yourself. You might just go into the wayside. There's too many people that get privileged with a lot of stuff and they don't do anything with it.
they don't do anything with it. They actually do the opposite. They waste it all.
Yep.
There's a lot of kids that I grew up with that were a part of a very wealthy household that are drug addicts or dead,
Yeah.
alcoholics, or just doing the same thing, not progressing in their life, right? Like just living off mommy and daddy's money. Like that's not fulfilling by any means, right? It's way more fulfilling to do it yourself and then have the results that you did it. It's very fulfilling. And you know that just as well as I do,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know? And so that's everybody that's feeling stuck. If you're feeling stuck, I mean, it's literally the one thing that can take you from like pace over 2 years, took you from here all the way to there.
Right.
That's all it takes. It's all it
Yeah.
takes sometimes. Someone's system, and their product or service, right? A product, pick any product or service, right? But if you don't have the system, it's going to be a hard road. Not that you
Yeah.
can't be done, I mean, hard work, ultimately you figure it out. You're right. You will figure it out by adaptation, right? You put yourself in that situation, you're going to adapt, right? So when you bought that first Airbnb, no matter how much information somebody gave you, there's a learning curve that you got to go through the bumps and
Oh
bruises,
yeah.
right? And then you just figure it out. You have to. You got no other choice. You figure it out.
Yep. Same thing with
And
the
I think
silver
there's
living.
lessons just in that. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to learn their way to success, and it's only one piece of the puzzle. It's only one
Yeah.
piece of the puzzle. You got to apply everything you learn. It's all in action, all in taking action. 100%
Yeah.
of it. So, but this was
Jim
fun, man.
Jim Quick recently did a post. He was showing somebody walking on like a little thin line, right? And he's like, learn, apply to keep your balance. He was on the
Definitely.
tightrope. Yeah. So it's so true. So true.
Yeah, it really is. You can't stop learning, and that's another thing that people will always do is that's why I appreciate what Ashley has done, because ultimately when she exited the company, not that she's she hates when I say that, I guess, but she's constantly she's still involved regularly, but like overall, from our everyday job, right, like I'm still actively involved every day with salespeople, with what we call merchants, which are business owners, helping on support in certain cases, helping people with helping with retention, various things. I mean, helping people on the dialer who are dialing, in every facet of the business, I'm still involved. And Ashley originally was doing everything on the back end. So she would, we do the whole process on the point of sale side, right? Where I'd acquire the deal, and then the deal needs to be like set up and then installed, right? So she would do all of the setup process, and then she would help with the installation. I would mostly do the install, but she would help in those areas in the install and then the training and then the go live and various other things to get people switched over. And so she was the one really I can give credit to that helped us build out the team that we have today on the back end, which we have now a 24-hour day, 7-day a week support line.
Awesome.
That as you can tell, I'm not answering those calls, and calls, you see me checking. I don't know if you can see me checking my phone. Actually, I guess not. But it's very active on my line all the time. And, it's because of her that people are, we have people, and the most dedicated, I want to give it a shout out to my team right now, who are the most dedicated people on the planet Earth today that fulfill all of our customers' needs whenever they need it. And I'm very thankful for them for that. They deserve everything that is coming to them. And, my customers really appreciate them. They do a lot. And so, but it was really Ashley that kind of put it all together and saw the vision in compartmentalizing all the pieces of what needed to be done on the back end. I am not that organized. I'm more of a headhunter, right? That's my position. That's what I do. And so after she was able to do that and we really were able to seam it all together, she really didn't need to be involved as much or at all anymore. I was able to manage what she had put together. And that's when she was able to essentially exit the business. And, my mom was a housewife. She didn't have a job. Her job was taking care of us, which was probably the hardest job that she could have taken on. And, my father, as I told you, was a doctor. And so originally I didn't know that she would be working. And instead she took a Grant Cardone course, right? That was your first course, right, girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where it all started. I think 4 years ago, almost 5 years, where she was out learning for years before she even applied it. And what's interesting is she always told me we'd be doing what we're doing today. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like, why would somebody do a creative deal? Like, why would they do that, Ash?
Right.
And needless to say, now we have like a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house. That's $1 million house in a gated community with the most unbelievable terms, okay, on the table. So it's like, and then we have our RV park, and we have the laundromat. It's crazy to believe that. And I had such a negative viewpoint, like who would do that? And yet,
right,
what the hell did I know? What the hell do I know? Like, how does my opinion matter? But I think it was also just trying to like poke at her to make it happen in the same respect, because we really needed it.
Hey, sometimes like, you know what? Sometimes
no, you can't. Yeah. No, you can't.
If you know what buttons to push, that'll work. Sometimes that's what's needed.
Yeah, and she showed me, for sure. She's shown me. She found pace. I don't think there's a better group that she could have been a part of. I mean, you being a part of that, obviously, she's met you. She's met a number of really great people. And just as I said, I'm so involved in my work every day and with the people that I surround myself with in my company, that, as we have never met outside of, the meeting today, the meeting that we made into a podcast. But, that like, I really don't have the ability. I mean, I do, but I don't, I mean, I'm just so focused on what I'm doing. Right. This kind of goes back to flipping the 9 to 5 into a 5 to 9. It's like, yeah. I just so focused on what it is I have to do, that going to Boston, for example, or going to Arizona to be part of the, day with pace, or, it's one of those things that it's like, Ash, you go, right? Like, the business provided the ability for one of us to go, and it's you. Just go, do your thing. You made it this far. It's like, it's, not stupid of me to go, but at the same time, it's less of importance for me to go than it is for her to be there. So, and that's where we kind of, she's better, and she and I work very well together for the simple fact that, like, she's good at all the things that I'm not good at.
Yeah,
right?
that's a great dynamic.
And one of those things is, and one of the jokes I make about Ash is you could drop her in the middle of the Amazon and she would find the river, you know? Okay. She'd be like, she would
Resourceful.
know exactly where she was. It's just what she's really good at, you know, and I contribute that to her dad being a career police officer and investigator, you know, and just kind of what he's instilled in her of being observant and being aware of
Yeah.
her surroundings. You know, I didn't have that. You know, I had a dad. My dad's a brilliant man. Okay. At being a doctor. On everything outside of that, like, no, I'm just kidding.
Like some people focus on one thing and that's all they're,
Yeah,
it's
he'd be the
personality.
first one to say it. I mean, my dad's the man. And but he really is, like, he's not shy about what he doesn't know, and he has no interest in learning that, like that's him.
Yeah.
So, and that's really where Ashley and I fit together, and that's why we work so well together. Is that there are moments in where we, like, it's kind of like a meeting place,
Yeah.
where we are like, okay, I'm good at this, but you're good at that, but like we need to be here somewhere. And those are the moments in which, like, normally it gets pretty heated, but overall we hammer it out, and then we make a move, and we go forward together, and no matter no matter whose opinion we made on it, it's just we make that decision. Sometimes she makes the decision without telling me.
It's the right
She just
decision.
goes,
Happy wife,
but
happy
I'll
life,
never hate
right?
her for it. Yeah, I'll never hate her for it, because at the end of the day, she's right in making a decision. So it's like at some point a decision's got to be made,
Yep.
and she takes that time to get me involved, to hear my thoughts on it because of what she's not good at that I am. And she takes that into account fully before she makes that decision. She doesn't totally negate what it is that I'm saying, but I could be very indecisive, right? Because I'm a mathematics guy. I need an equal sign, right? If it's
Gotcha.
like greater than or less than, I'm like really pondering the margin of error, and
Yeah.
what it could be, and then and analyzing, like, the
It's
good and
more
the
or less.
bad.
Which one? More or less? Yeah.
Right. And she's got I call her my trigger finger, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
She's definitely my trigger finger. She'll pull the trigger. She'll pull the trigger. She knows, based on, just how it is that I'm discussing it and what's going into my thought process. And then she'll just make a decision in a lot of cases. And I'm good with that. Because I may not have been able to make those decisions. Whether it goes right or goes wrong doesn't matter. It's, you're when it's a probability, you would have to expect one or the other, and you got to make a decision one way or the other. But that's it's been a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun, and
It's good to hear.
yeah, I'm excited to meet your brother. Obviously, I think obviously I know he's probably really busy. Is he also an entrepreneur like you in real estate, or is he
Not
mainly
real estate.
is he the older and younger
Insurance.
than you?
He's
Oh,
younger,
insurance.
almost, yeah, a little over 10 years younger. He's insurance,
Insurance, by the way,
payroll.
was the other business that you could be a millionaire
Yeah.
selling
I think that's
insurance,
why.
life, dental, health, annuities, all that stuff, right? Life,
Yeah.
whole life, term life, all that stuff. You've got the wealth guys, right? Those guys make a ton of money,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Residual
And
income
it's
as
selling
well.
insurance. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's residual income there. There's the only problem with the residual income is you got the renewals.
Yeah.
Boy, do I hate renewals. And the fact that they can cancel whenever they want, which also
Yeah.
sucks. Right.
And they
So,
cancel. That's the last thing they remember is, oh, yeah, I canceled these
yeah.
guys.
And then you got the clawbacks and all that stuff. You know
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
all that, right? Yeah.
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 I
Keep you
used
on the
to,
hamster wheel a little.
oh, yeah. I used to work for Time Warner for a little bit doing instant
Oh, did you?
calls. Yeah. So if they cancel within a certain time, chargebacks, like, oh, come on.
Yeah. We call our business set it and forget it.
That's great.
Yeah.
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 Time Warner had
I
too
actually
many.
called up a customer of mine that I hadn't talked to in probably 5 years or so. It's this Mexican restaurant in Philadelphia. They're the best customers. We actually had, like, we looked back because we were like, yo, like, have you talked to Placido? Like, when was the last time you talked to Placido? You know? So I call him up at, like, out of the blue, because I had noticed he never calls into support. I'm looking at my log. Never has called in. Years have gone by. He has never called into support. So I ended up calling him, like, dude, how you been? Dude, they were dealing with this problem that was so ridiculous, okay, that they were just dealing with it. It was like shutting the software, was like, for whatever reason, shutting down on them in the middle of the day or whatever it was. So ridiculous. But like, I'm like, why didn't you tell me about this? No
Some
big
people are
deal,
like that, man. They don't like asking for help. So yeah, I figure out
So
a way
like,
around it. There's a
it
hurdle.
took
You can
me
walk around it.
1 second to fix, like it took me
Yeah.
1 millisecond to fix. Guy never called in, but just recently, actually, we have a new version of the software we're selling, and we're very excited about the new version. It's a major update. It's actually an update where we're going to have, it'll be our software. Actually, it's going to be our software, branded our brand, which will be fantastic. And so
Savior.
not this brand, my Savior Pay brand. Yeah,
Yeah. Savior
actually,
pay.
yeah, my Savior Pay brand. And yeah, so we had called him back, and dude, it's incredible. I mean, all these years I call him back, and he's still just as thankful that we implemented this for him. And so much so that, like, he went ahead and he wanted the new software and involved himself. Obviously, he was willing to pay it full price, and didn't even question it. Mexican restaurants, by the way, are phenomenal businesses.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So how do I
Make a
become
lot of
an
money on
affiliate?
rice and beans.
You, how do I become an affiliate? Whoever's watching this, how do they become an affiliate? Because also I know a restaurant owner that has 10 restaurants. So I'm going to get
Oh,
that
do you?
POS there.
Fantastic.
Save
Let's
your
get
pay
them. Let's
there
get
as
them.
well.
Save your pay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can go to, right now, it's the ccpos.com/intake -2. You
Okay.
can fill out, oh, I'm sorry, the agent registration. That would be for the merchant. So it's actually the ccpos.com/agent-registration. You can fill out that form, and then that form will essentially make you a full-on rep,
Okay.
which you considering an affiliate. But we don't, it depends on your involvement as to, obviously, how the percentage of the deal that you get, right? But overall, what has been provided to me in my life is what I am looking for others, right? So it's very important to me in my heart that, at the end of the day, it's not an affiliate that we're trying to create. We're really trying to create someone who wants to be an owner, right? That wants to have their own accounts, build their own portfolio, right? Something of worth, of value, of, that, can set the stage for their life, that honestly has provided us with everything that we have, that I'm so thankful for every single day. And I know that, like, the more that we're able to do that for others, I know that in return, if you believe in God, I know that, in return, that it will more than benefit the company, to get us where we need to go. And that's what we intend, for the next stage of our career. Save your pay, right? Right now it's the ccpos.com/agent-registration.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it below.
Sure.
What does the registration look like? Is it a class for a couple of days?
No. Yeah. So the registration is just simply a form. That form will allow you to be essentially a vendor, right? So obviously, what that is, it would be like all the information necessary for that person or that company to be paid for selling an account. And then what we would do is we would send a partner agreement in return. And then that partner agreement would have, all the necessary confidentiality, because obviously, as we're offering services of major banks, and then we are under the same conditions that we have to make sure that everyone is under, in that when we provide how this whole thing process works, it is confidential to the bank, right, and the vendors
Okay.
that we are sponsored by. So yeah. So the first thing would be is a partner agreement, standard agreement, just show, essentially you make a percentage of the overall revenue that's created, and that essentially we're all a part of the same team. We all have the same skin in the game. We all want to get it across the finish line together. because that's how we all get paid. We all get paid the same way. I had a rep recently. He's like, man, I've put in all this work and I've only have this many deals and I'm only making this much money. And I'm like, what about me? Right? Like, I'm here on the phone with you. I've been putting in the same amount, if not more effort, right? Helping you close all these deals, and you're making more than I am these deals, right? Like, it's mostly my involvement in the beginning in order to make somebody independent in the end. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like, and that's what, that's the scarcity mindset. Thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the scarcity mindset. You know, it's like, if only you knew what my other customers had to do, like just an inventory, just the money that they have in inventory. What if, like, a franchise, you know what it is to join a franchise? You know what it costs to do that?
Oh
Do
yeah.
you know how much money that, like, you have to pay back to the corporation and how little margin there is on the, you know, like, franchisees, you have to own like 11 of these stores to actually make a decent income. It's very hard as a franchisee, and they're giving you everything you need to know in a booklet, right?
Yeah, but you got to pay a lot to get it.
You pay a ton of money to get in and you never stop paying. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's the comparison, right? This literally costs somebody nothing to get started. We show people how to make money from out of their own home, right? Just like I was telling you, we dial for dollars. They simply have to have a computer, okay, and a headset, okay. We put them on a seat on our dialer and we dial for dollars, and we show them how to do it right from their home, right? And then you're setting up appointments in your local area, and you're going to the appointments, in which we help you at every step of the, every stage of the process, right? So, it is training, not a class. Class doesn't do you no good. It is live training. You don't need to know everything. You need to know the script. That's the first thing that we do. We don't let you on the dialer unless you've memorized the script, right? We give you the script, you memorize the script, and then we train on tonality. How does that script supposed to sound?
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
As soon as you know those two things, you're off to the races. You don't need to know anything about the product. You don't need to know anything about the services. You don't need to. What you need to find is, you need to find somebody, A, interested, or B, in pain.
Right.
That's it.
It's like most sales. Yep.
Then you find out, why are you interested, and what is your pain?
Yeah.
Right. And then you fulfill it with a solution. That's how you learn the products and services, because they fulfill the need in which that you've established with your customer. And that's what a salesperson is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So that's for anybody that's interested. Start you off with your sub agents, what we call sub agents.
Okay. So with your reps, do you have a minimum, or once they sign up and they're good to go for the long run, or how does that work?
What do you mean by a minimum?
Like minimum amount of sales accounts that you want them to get every month?
No.
Okay.
We're not interested in that. At the end of the day, we have agents of all sizes that do, hundreds of deals, tens of deals. The main idea for us is that we do not want to invest our time with someone that is not invested.
All right.
So it's that simple. Sure. You're not going to get my time, right, or my agent's time, if you're not fully invested. But if you want to do this on your own and just submit deals, hey, you're not taking this seriously. Like, why should I be? Like, we do have people that we call them part of the fan club.
Yeah.
Right. They're not doing any deals, but they want to be a part of the group. Like, those people are not good for the group.
Okay.
It's kind of like owners club, right? We don't want those people just hanging around, not doing no deals.
Right.
Right. You want to be in the club, do what everybody else is doing, right? That's the atmosphere we want to create. So it's not a matter of, do we have a minimum? It's not a matter of the minimum. It's a matter of somebody's goals and then meeting their goals. And if you're not goal oriented, then you don't belong here.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
That's simple.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
A good core belief to have in your business, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're looking for, honestly, sales, as you know, being in sprint is like one of the most fun atmospheres you could be a part of. The sales
Yes.
high is very, very, very contagious, right? The competition is extremely fun, and salespeople are the best type of people to be around and to have friendships with, right? They're very outgoing, they're funny, they're exciting, they're like, they've got
The
talents,
rapport
right?
builders. Yep.
Yeah, and they've got talents, which is where they create their value out of all of those things that make them who they are, right? So that's what we want. We want people that want to be a part of that, right? So, but that would be a lot of fun, and I look forward to talking to you, obviously, more about that and your brother specifically. I think that would be great for you and for him, obviously. You being the connector that you are, right?
Yeah, for sure. You get it. You remember? Awesome.
Yeah, man.
How's Lance without pants? What's he up to these days?
Yeah. So No Pants Lance
Yeah, no
is
pants Lance.
a multi millionaire. He actually left our business, our industry. He left our industry, what, 5 to 7 years ago, and still has a residual, probably more sizable than most people make in their life.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you've got people that probably work their god darn tails off every single day and being shouted at from their boss, and he makes more than they do.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, he's built one of the largest solar companies, sales organizations for solar for a company called SunPower, which was the number one solar company. And I don't know, a lot of the solar, I don't know if you know about solar, but they're having like solar industry is having a lot of trouble. Yeah, that's the company that Ashley said she's getting out of.
Okay.
But actually, he built his own company. Remember, that was still one of the largest girls. Is that my brother Lance, like I would say, is a perfect example of someone who, when you know the system and the processes, it doesn't matter where you go. Like he's now getting back into our industry, and all he needs to do is flick the switch and he will be, I mean, he'll way surpass. I mean, he's phenomenal at what he does. I don't want to take anything away from what he does. He's phenomenal. And he has a way of just exploding in a way, in ways that I do not, it's not what I'm good at, I guess. I don't know. It's just, he does I mean, I mean, a freight train, dude, a
He was
freight train.
he
And
was a starter in the basketball team, but he's an all-star in the basketball
yeah,
team.
yeah, exactly. Dude, this guy is phenomenal. Okay. He's phenomenal at growing teams. He's a phenomenal trainer. He's easily able to position himself as an authority where people want to emulate what he is and who he is and what he does. He's great at creating relationships and friendships. And he's phenomenal at getting people to meet their goals.
Awesome. I need to get him on this
I
podcast in a couple of months.
Yeah, he's great, dude. He's great. He's really great at making a nobody into somebody.
Dude, that's
I'm
awesome.
really great at taking someone that has interest and wants this and pointing them in the right direction, right? I have less interest in those people that don't want this and trying to encourage them into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You
like
can
I've
you can
told
take a
you.
horse to the lake, but you can't make him drink, right?
He gets them to drink
Yeah.
some way, somehow. And I'm telling you, they end up like a mule, but just bringing water. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have the patience of that. I just don't have that patience. You know, it's different. Now, it is, I want to preface that by saying, like, if that person's extremely hungry and is that great helper that we were talking about and wants it really badly, my time is always available for that person and I can give them the secret sauce and they will learn quickly and they will grow fast and so on and so forth. I am not the type of person to call someone and make sure they're waking up on time and make sure that they've brushed their teeth in the morning, make sure that they got out into the field today and made sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. That was never me. No one ever had to do that for me.
Right.
I was always the right guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think the same thing goes for you, right? You can
Very similar.
probably
Yep.
Yeah, you could probably relate to that where it's, and I think it's just that type of it's just the type of person that I relate to. And I think that also kind of digs in deeper into the owners club. I think
Yeah.
everyone in owners club they just want it even more. That's why we're all a part of it, right? We have that angst, that pain to want more, so much that we're willing to invest in it,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. So, but again, it's all the same processes in each of the businesses he chooses, right? He prefers the door to door method. I'm a dialer. Okay. I like to dial. I think it's more scalable. He has been able to scale the door to door space and he just sticks to the scaling of door to door.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing at it. Amazing at it.
Awesome.
So, anyway, but
I've always wanted to
I
go to
know
Disney World.
Disney's the bomb, dude. Disney is the bomb, dude. Yeah, man, you should definitely come. Disney makes it too easy for a resident to go. I think we
Oh yeah.
pay like $40 a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it might actually be less than that. Is it? But yeah, Disney makes it. So like when you come from out of town though, and you get like the hopper, you're spending like $1,000 or
Yeah.
more. Yeah, it's so expensive. And then what happens is because you're only there for so many days, you feel like a lot of people come in the summertime, and boy, is it hot here in the summertime.
Hmm.
Okay, you like Texas, boy, you guys get heat there
Yeah,
too.
dude.
Yeah, so people will go because they're on summer break or whatever. They go
Right.
to Disney, right? And they feel like because they spend so much money, they got to go from morning until night, and they're
Yeah, for sure.
just melting. The season pass is phenomenal too because we'll get like a condo there for like a week or something. We'll work all day and then we'll go from like 5 to close. We don't
Badass.
have to feel like that because it costs us $40 for the month. So yeah, they make it too easy, man. They make it too easy for the residents here. That's one really, really good benefit of living here. Is Disney's a lot of fun for the kids, man. The kids are great. You have kids?
No.
No. And then what about your younger brother, right? Who's
Yeah.
the one in payroll?
No,
How about him?
he's yeah, he just had his first one just had 2 years. They're about to have one in 2 weeks, about to have the second child.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And how old is he?
So he's 33. Yeah, he's 10 years
Okay.
younger, and then my other one's 31.
God gives back, you know, the people that have put, it's like pay it forward type thing,
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you bringing me on, man. It's nice to have gotten to meet you. And look, it's always fun at this age, at this stage of our career, and at this age is, most fun when you make money together.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's so much fun to be a part of the ride, right?
Oh, yeah. And be able to learn from
Yeah.
other people, and
And
they
being
can
able
kind
to
of show
learn
you a
from
path.
others.
Heck
Yeah.
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 Oh
It's
yeah, for
super
sure.
fun. Super fun. Like Ashley with the and she was, talking to, we had that coin laundry that she really wanted to do it, but we didn't want to run it. We didn't actually want to work there, right?
Right.
So, and we had never done this before, and there was it was like a family that was working there and stuff. So, that was our risk in the deal was that like, the labor of the deal, like the liability and the staff, like we're going to have to replace the staff because, we have a key man problem,
Yeah.
like the brother of the owner is working here. If he leaves, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Um, screwed in that like not that like we didn't know how to fold clothes, but that we would have to fold clothes. We don't want to do that right now. We're not at that stage of our
No.
career today.
Right.
I would have done it when I first started. I would have been folding clothes without question.
Yeah. That
But
deal's
it's
still in
like we don't
limbo,
want to
huh?
go backwards.
That deal's still in limbo.
That deal's still going, man. What's crazy is Ashley, dude. This just goes back to Ash, man. She knows when to walk away. She knows when she doesn't have the fear of walking away. Just like the Orlando property, she walked away. She walked away from that deal, and then I was the one that had the FOMO,
Yeah.
And she, because it was, dude, it's a really nice property. It's 15 minutes from Disney. It's in a gated community, really nice high-end community, and we wanted to get out of the situation we're in right now. It's not bad where we're at. We live on a resort, but it's like in an apartment complex type of, it's still a resort. We have a clubhouse with pool, like a resort pool, and and so I had the bit of a FOMO, and she goes to me, she goes, he'll be back. Just like that. He'll be like, he's not selling the property. Like so confident in that. And then the next thing you know, we get the phone call, man. It's so crazy. And not the next thing you know. How long did it went on? So yeah, 2 months. Felt a lot longer than that.
Yeah, that's
But
still a
she
good
knew,
amount.
yeah, she had like, the guy had gone under contract with someone that said that they were going to be able to sell it and never sold it. Never sold it. Just like Ashley said he wouldn't be able to, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. To me, it's crazy because it's like, how do you know that? It's like that whole like drop you in the Amazon thing. I don't know what's a good neighborhood. I'm not good at that. I don't want to pretend like I'm good at that, right? I don't have the, the ego to want to be that person in the deal. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I just want to win. I just want to win, When it comes to the numbers, I get involved. I will tell you that.
About the laundry, if she needed help with translating, to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. The broker was making us feel like we were going to lose it. They were going to sell it. They were going to take our EMD. They were, like, yeah, yeah. And she's like, no, they won't. They're not going to start this process all over, like,
Oh yeah.
The
pain.
they're too invested. They know we're serious. It was like all those things, and then the coin laundry, it was all cash. So like, it wasn't hitting the books,
Oh yeah.
So it's like, that's not an easy sale. Like
Nope.
Ashley went there and worked there all day for multiple days to count the money, to be,
I don't know too much about it, but somebody I follow, they say you also have to check their water records to make sure how much they're actually using the washing machines.
Oh, really? I like that.
Yeah.
Computers. Yeah, no, she worked there all day. That's what she did. She has video of her mopping the floor. You ever seen the TV show The Prophet?
No, I haven't. I heard
With
about
Marcus
it.
Lemonis? Yeah, with Marcus Lemonis. That's what he does. He does. I was like, what are you, Marcus Lemonis? I saw this video, like, what the hell? Are you Marcus Lemonis? That was one of our favorite shows. We love Marcus Lemonis.
Yeah, I had heard about him too. He was at the retreat in Arizona, and he was impactful.
Very, very impactful. He is the man. And he takes out the trash and he does the hard work and he proves to everybody, like a true leader, right? Like Ashley would, like I would. We don't mind. I'll clean the toilet. I would never ask somebody to do something I wouldn't do. Like,
Same.
I'll clean that toilet. Like, get out of my way.
Same.
Yeah. So yeah, she did all those things. And I think that that's why also with the Orlando house is, again, we're genuine people. They know we're for real. They know they're safe with us, right? We're not just some schmo or some, we don't look like swindlers. We come with our family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's all part of the story. It's all part of the story. So, but yeah, man, let's do some deals together.
Dude, yeah.
But this was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. This might be my first podcast, so I'm not sure. I don't get out much, unlike Ashley.
So, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah, thank you, man.
Appreciate it. Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.